Good evening. This is Barbara Ison White. I'm a native New Yorker. And I'm sitting here with three very lovely people that I'd like to introduce you to. On my right is,
My name is Jasmine Iman Roberts, and I'm a friend of Stanley Lowe's. I met him in McDonald's, and he invited me to come see his dolls.
and in front of me,
Cat Eyes,
she's a singer.
master vocalist,
A ma-
42 years singing, 42.
All right.
Yeah, master vocalist.
And next to her on her left is,
I'm Robert Noyes Lowe. I'm actually Stanley's brother, and he invited me to see his dolls.
very good. So nice to have all of you here this evening. We're going to have a good time. I'd like to open the mic for any one of you to talk about your adventures in life, what has brought you here, any talent you may have that you'd like to exhibit tonight. We could start with the young lady on my right.
Wow, my name is Jasmine, and I really like to be called Iman because it's like an alter ego when I'm expressing myself through art, through dance, and basically communicating with the community about, you know, heritage, culture, and spirituality. Um, the doll that we had, that Stanley Lowe, my friend, brought in today, reminds me of Cancer Awareness Month. And it's very important to me because it's an expression of how my friend feels about healthcare for underprivileged people and under unfortunate people that are unfortunate in urban communities. So I'm just grateful for my friend sharing his expression with me of creativity and encouraging me to stay creative and optimistic about my future and the future of the youth.
I like to hear that. That's very nice that you have that feeling about things that are going on in our community. We need more people like you and just continue having that desire. And now, could we, Robert, would you like to have the mic and say something concerning you?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm Robert Noyes Lowe. I'm happy to be here. I really support Miss Jasmine Iman Roberts, who I've just met, and her message for today. I thank my brother for being here. It's wonderful that he set this up. Stanley Noyes Lowe, wonderful. And nice to be here. It's a table full of talents. It's Sheba?
Cat Eyes.
Cat Eyes.
Cat, gatita, cat,
Cat Eyes.
cat eyes.
Cat Eyes.
Chinita, like cat.
Singing
Yes, gatita,
talent.
cat. Cat Eyes, la gatita.
And Miss Barbara, thank you very much, the grower of kiwis in the Bronx. This is so much amazing. I've been working for a few years as a practitioner, a doctor, and I've been helping out folks on the front line who are suffering with this opiate pandemic that we have that's planet-wide. I want to encourage anybody who this has touched that there is hope, there is help. Your lives can be totally changed around, and the treatment is effective. If you know somebody who could benefit from treatment, please encourage them to get that. Thank you very much.
On that note, Robert, I would like to ask you a question, if you don't mind, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. When you speak of opiates, we're really talking about people that are dependent on things of that nature. Would that eliminate alcohol? Because I find a lot of people, maybe even more, are dependent upon alcohol in the form of whiskey and beer, and they're sort of overlooked, and still it's a deep dependency.
You know, Miss Barbara, you're absolutely right. It brings up and gets to a point where I've always expressed, we use this term addiction as if it's just a disease that somebody requires. Every last one of us is susceptible to getting overly dependent and overly used on a lot of substances. That includes alcohol, tobacco, food, sugary substances,
etc.
okay, and of the really, really bad guys, which are cocaine, crystal meth, and opiates such as heroin and fentanyl, which is on the street now. But all of us have to be aware that we can get dependent upon some substance, and you should look out and love one another, because part of it is because it's a world can be very, 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 very difficult at times.
I appreciate you saying that because I think that needs to come out because, as you say, we need to be more caring of each other and more aware of what happens when we don't care for each other. Thank you very much. Now, Cat Eyes, it's your turn.
Well, I'm Cat Eyes. I like the subject because I'm so against drugs and alcohol. I never touched drugs in my life. I don't drink or smoke. I'm a former bodybuilder and powerlifter and martial artist. So I have the anti-drug, anti-alcohol logo, anti-cigarettes.
Very
Bicycle and candy destroy my teeth, so people often mistake me for something that I'm totally so against. But I'm so grateful that my whole life has been all about exercising and doing music, singing. 42 years, martial arts, exercising, rollerblading, kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, judo, karate, all that good stuff. So I'm blessed that I chose. I'm 50 years old, by the way. So, but a lot of people, when they see me, I like the subject though, because a lot of people see me and they think, oh my God, that's a cracker, and I have no history. I don't even know how to smoke a cigarette. So I'm so blessed, you know. But I don't knock nobody, but I'm so against it. But I don't knock nobody. People want to help people like that, that's fine. But what I see on television, they see the knocks thing, they put it in the nose for if somebody's doing some drugs or something. I've seen that. They say that even if you're anti-drug, you can carry it to help somebody if they're overdosing in the street,
yeah,
right?
the
I've seen
anti,
that.
the
and you
anti
can help them,
thing.
and you go and you pump it in there, and they come back to life, I think. And then
Oh,
they,
absolutely.
They're making
yeah,
it more
they could.
available for people to
Absolutely.
have. At one time, it was hard to get, and people died because they didn't have that in their possession. But now they've made it more available that you can get
So
it.
we're talking about harm reduction now.
What are we talking about?
Harm reduction.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
helps them. And then I think they said if they die, they don't come back, they try it second time. Something like that. They show me that thing. Yeah, they show it in the shelter. In the shelter. They put it in the nose
is it.
and they pump it in their
Yes,
nose. Yeah, I
at
seen it
one
in-
time it wasn't available to the average
That looks
citizen.
scary.
Yes.
I was so scared
So-
in the shelter. I didn't want to touch it. I know it's crazy because I was scared, but they said no, it's just for you to help them. But then I started to try to learn. So,
Yeah, that's very interesting. That
Well, I feel like Cat Eyes, that once you are basically exposed to the behavior of trying to promote harm reduction, you're exposed to the behavior of becoming, how do you put it, vulnerable to substance abuse. So being aware about your surroundings and being aware about your goals, your life, and what you prioritize for yourself, and knowing that this may cause mass genocide or just cause problems in employment, making your life becoming unmanageable. Awareness is very important when it comes to harm reduction and substance abuse, because it's a lot of people dying here. Babies are finding drugs, and the whole system is becoming a place where it's uncomfortable to share your ideas, and it's uncomfortable to express your creativity about how you feel
yeah.
when you are addicted to drugs, or you have a person in your family that was addicted to drugs and you are trying to fight, but you just become vulnerable. What are some things that we can do to combat vulnerability when it comes to substance abuse and harm reduction?
Well, let's open that question out to the people that are here at the table. I mean, what do you think we should do? Not as a governmental official, but just as grassroots people. What do you think we can do about that besides carry this around with us? And when we see an instance when it might be needed. But what do you think we can do in our homes, in groups that we're around, and maybe if we can voice our opinion, it would give us the incentive to hear what other people think that we could do something about it on the grassroots level.
I don't know what to say. Like I said, I'm changing the subject for a minute. When I was 10 years old, I seen my brother's daddy. I was coming from school. I had my little book back on 40 years ago. My brother's daddy put a needle in his arm. He fell down, but he didn't touch the floor. Like he didn't touch the floor, and that traumatized me. That I froze that day. And so, no disrespect, but every time I see, oh, Father God, I'm sorry about what I'm about to say. A crackhead, people doing drugs. I used to have this anger built in me because let me be honest with my feelings. If I had the power that I had now as martial artist to kill him right where he was doing that in front of me, I would have done it. And I don't know if I would be in jail. I was so tiny, but it had built me an anger. So every time I see crackheads and people putting needle or holding their arm and putting needles in their legs, I wanted to beat them. I wanted to hurt them, and I started praying to God to take away that feeling and anger. He did. I don't want to beat him up, but just run away from this. So I don't know how to tell you that. I could just try to grab a group of people that do drugs and say, hey, because I never used it, so I don't know. But every time I see him, I'm a rollerblader. I'm always on my skates. I skate away. I get away from it. So I don't know what to tell him. Maybe he knows more. I'm not experienced with that, but music and exercise. But he might be able to help. I don't know how to
Yes,
say it.
Well
I
said,
understand.
Cat Eyes. Music, exercise, getting away, trying to find something more productive to do with your time. Because at the end of the day, I feel like if I'm wasting my time doing drugs or if I'm around a place like an epicenter of drugs, epicenter of disease, epicenter of healthcare disadvantages, there's always going to be a vulnerability somewhere when you're trying to assert your inquiries based on the inabilities for us to get health care or
That's true.
inability to understand how I can create a safe space for me to express myself through creativity so that I won't become a statistic on drugs or I won't be vulnerable to becoming a statistic because of substance abuse within my family.
Very interesting.
You ladies are amazing. Cat Eyes, I hear your pain and I
Thank
feel
you.
it. And
Yeah, I see it a lot.
I understand.
I've been through
that.
hell.
I
Yeah, I've been through
understand.
hell. And I'm back.
Jasmine, I hear what you're saying, and both of you have such a deep insight, and really, you've hit upon one of the major points of prevention and solution and healing, which is socialization. Do something to express your inner human creativity, music, art, dance, this kind of thing, which all our communities used to really thrive on and express and share. Unfortunately, what happened was it was really sequentially taken away from each of our communities when you could have had this in schools. They cut this program, cut that program, and then the ability to do it in, there was in Harlem where we were born and raised, it was folks who had talent came together and they started outreach things called Arts and Culture and the Dance Studio of Harlem and other things like that. And folks had something to do, and this helped them to stay clean. We need to do this again. And this is part of the solution.
And that's why I keep saying grassroots. We somehow have looked towards the higher echelon, the politicians, the people in our community to make laws and things that will help conquer this problem we have, but we need to speak to each other. We need to go into these neighborhoods and, as you said, cat eyes, when people see you, they mistake you for something that you're
Oh my
not.
God, yeah,
So
all the time.
one way I think that would be very helpful, and it's a little difficult because you can't approach everyone, but we need to involve ourselves in the churches and different community groups and realize that it's only then when we see people for who they are, not for what they look like,
Yeah.
that we can be able to communicate and let people know there are situations that you can sing, dance, cook, do different things, and be part of the community, and you're not isolated.
And even, excuse me, even as Miss Cat Eyes has shared, really, really profound martial arts teachers help build up that inner self-confidence,
Yes,
which our young people need.
true. And that's commendable, because at one time it used to be only in the movies that we saw it, and and some people embraced it, some people didn't. But like you said, also, we have to have some way that we can make people feel that they're worthy, that there is something out there for them besides
But
drugs.
can I say this? I love people. A lot of people don't know that. I'm a Cancer, so I'm very loving. I love people. I do care about people, though. That's something that's never gonna stop, Me gusta, quiero mucho a la gente, tengo mucha compasión para otra vida. I have a lot of compassion for human lives. So I'm glad at least I have that, But I don't want to knock them and throw them under a bus because already God showed me. He said to me, you're going to learn, and you're going to really learn because you said you're going to leave this apartment and go into a shelter. I've been to 14 different shelters. I've been through hell. So every shelter, people kept doing drugs in front of my face, and I almost died in the bed, called palpitations, called almost a heart attack because somebody was doing wrong, doing crack. They say horrid crack. They were doing something 2 beds from me, and that almost killed me. And I said, you know what? I said, God, I said in the mind, because I couldn't talk. I said, God, this be, forgive me, God. If I'm gonna die, let me drop. No, because, I'm dying here. Let me drop now. Like, I don't want to keep inhaling and suffering other people wrongdoing. So I can go into DHS, different shelter, accommodation, different shelter today. Finally, got my apartment, thank God. But it was hard. God was trying
Hallelujah.
to tell me that people are going to do drugs regardless if I don't like it or not. I cannot stop. I understand. I cannot stop them. So now I learned that. So when I see a crackhead now, I have a little bit more different type of, the way I approach or the way I be like I respect and I move and say, and I look at coming here. There was a man sleeping on the train. I said, here, take this sweater. I have this extra sweater for you. He said, oh, I need that. He put it on and it fit him perfectly. And I
Oh,
said, hey,
wonderful.
yeah, I said, I was homeless too, young man. I have an apartment now. God bless, God willing, everything, should work out for you. And I sat down, I came here. But I don't want to keep knocking it because God already showed me I cannot change what they do and their lives that they choose, everything. And no se puede cambiar so. I don't do that no more. I learned, he said, he showed
It's
me.
always important to
Yeah.
remember that
You sure?
everybody starts from somewhere.
Yeah,
They didn't just wake up one day and they were
yeah,
drug addict,
yeah.
alcoholic.
Sí, entiendo.
They start from
Yeah.
somewhere, so we always have to keep that in mind.
I understand.
And
I do, and I'm sorry.
that's our plight in life, really.
Yeah.
If we want to be
Yeah.
humane
Entiendo.
to
I heard that
people.
substance abuse was a inherited disease. Like, it's a disease now. It's a disease that has to be combated with full force now because it's taking down whole nations. And I'm not even talking about illegal substances. I'm talking about psychotropic medications. I'm talking about naloxone. I'm talking about any drug there is. I mean, I feel like we were created by a higher power of our own choosing, right? And greater within us is greater than within this world. And if I could stay clean by one moment to half an hour to an hour, I think I have some encouragement to make it to the next day.
Amen. That sounds so good.
It sounds good, but it's true.
It's very true.
Changing up your people, places, and things. I mean, once the illegal substances come into play, everything that's natural within inside us is basically at jeopardy, and our whole life is at jeopardy because we're in either fight or flight mode, trying to save ourselves, running from ourselves, and wherever we go, we bring ourselves. So it may sound good, but when we face with consequences as from direct results of our attitudes, our actions, and our behaviors, that's when you know that you got a real suggestion from a person that is actually going through fighting substance abuse themselves.
Very well put. I've been given a signal that we have 1 more minute to express ourselves. I'm very glad that we did have this discussion. We need to expound upon it, and we need to go back to our prospective environments and take these thoughts with us and work on them and see what we can do. Every little bit counts. And I'd like to thank Cat Eyes for being here with us tonight,
Thank you.
Robert Lowe for being here with us
Thank
tonight,
Iman.
Iman, and of course Stanley for inviting us.
Stanley!
And of course, don't forget our beautiful, beautiful doll,
Barbara.
Barbara.
Barbs.
Barbs. Oh.
People helping people.
Thanks again for watching People Helping People TV show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.